Good morning, everybody. It's Bobby. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving that you got to spend with friends and family in a very meaningful way. I can tell you things here in Horseshoe Bay were just splendid. Now, getting into today's lesson, there are everybody across the land, I believe, knows about the relationship between cause and effect. And I think everybody knows enough to know that cause always precedes effect. The effect never happens before the cause. If I hit this golf ball, the strike, the impact with it must happen. That's the cause. And then the effect is it flies out of here. It can't fly before someone strikes it. All right, so you get that. However, there are those who I think are suspicious that I violate that principle when I teach, that sometimes I put the effect first. And so let's get into this lesson. I want to dispel that notion. I've got Mr. Smith here, and this could be Mr. Smith or Mr. Jones, Mr. Johnson, anybody. This is Mr. Smith. He walks up to this golf ball, and he's going to hit this shot for me. What's he do? He tops it. Ah, darn it, Bobby, I topped it. And I say, why didn't you finish? Finish? Yeah, finish your golf swing. Finish. Well, why? Look, it only went 14 feet. What would a finish do me any good? Yeah, all right. And so later that same lesson or the next lesson, it happens all the time, he gets up and he hits 10 inches behind the ball. Oh, gosh. Hey, why didn't you finish? Finish? What good would a finish do? I mean, I hit 12 inches behind the ball, and I can understand this line of thinking. You see where this is going. And then sometime later, he gets up there, he hits it squarely, but he slices it. And I say, why didn't you finish? Finish would do no good, Bobby. The ball was slicing. There's nothing I can do to retrieve it and start over. All right, now, if you think about it, what they're saying is that I'm putting the, the effect before the cause. And meaning that I'm saying that there's something magical about a finish that will undo a bad shot, and that's not the case at all. The other thing that they're saying, if you think about this, and they don't know they're saying this probably, is that they were going to finish. Oh, they were. But because at the moment of impact, they realized they hit a bad shot, they decided to abort the mission. Why finish now? They decided, now they only had about a third of a second to go before they would have gotten to a finish. But they hit it, realized it was bad, and were able to stop all 206 bones in their body, all 640 muscles in their body, were able to slam on the brakes and stop because they realized they had a bad shot. I don't think that's the case. I think the case is exactly the opposite. They hit a bad shot because they were never going to finish. They didn't pre-program themselves in advance to finish, and therefore that's what caused the errant shot. It happens all the time. And how might I say that succinctly? They swung to the ball instead of through the ball. Every great player's swing has with it a full and balanced finish. There's not one across the land who is short of that. We all got to learn to get through that ball. And I know it's counterintuitive because the finish happens after the ball is gone. So why would a finish help it now? But that's not the case. It helps by determining in advance that you're going to finish, and therefore you're much more likely to be lined up in the proper spot at impact. Now, to give you a good idea of why this is, because I'll break this down. I don't want you to just believe me. I want to give you a couple examples of why this is. Number one, and this isn't the most important, we want acceleration. And it's no different than a baseball hitter who hits one to the third baseman who's going to try to run out the throw. He doesn't run to the first base bag and stop. He gets to run through it. And why does he take the rules officials up on that luxury? So that he knows he can be accelerating when he goes through it. If he were to stop on the bag, he would be decelerating long before he got there. So that's one reason. But it's not just that. It's that continuing to turn your body offers centrifugal force. And centrifugal force offers a steadying effect on the path of the club, the club and the club head. Now, to give you an idea of this, I want you to imagine one of those giant swing sets at a carnival or Six Flags or an amusement park. And what happens when that axis starts turning? Those chains with people at the end start going out close to horizontal. And as long as that axis continues to turn, then you can be sure that those people are going to stay out there on that path, that well-established path, dictated by centrifugal force. That is, force created by something moving around a turning axis. Now, I want you to imagine something for a moment. What if suddenly those people on the end of those chains were swinging out there and all of a sudden the axis just stopped, which is what happens so often in a person's golf swing. The axis stops, and the person not on their way to a full finish. Well, what happens to those people on the swing set? Two things. They no longer have centrifugal force guiding them. Now they're taken over by momentum, what they have left, as well as gravity. So things are going to drop, and the chains are going to start wrapping around the axis and therefore become shorter. That's exactly what happens in a golf swing. The golfer who swings to the ball instead of through the ball is the same thing as the person who's, the swing set, the axis slams on the brakes. And so the chains get shorter and they wrap around, and they're no longer guided on that steady path that they had when this body was turning, and now they're just a pair of arms actuating a club that has no connection to anything solid. And so my suggestion to you is that you make your habit the same habit of every great player that's ever been, and that is complete your golf swing. Complete your golf swing. You will be more steadily and consistently lined up at the moment of impact if you swing and make it your unfailing habit to get all the way to a full and balanced finish with as much turn as you can muster. All right? And if you'll do that your next round, I promise you, as ball striking goes, I never know about the score because I can't be sure about your chipping and putting, but as ball striking goes, if you haven't been doing that, I guarantee you that if you just make it your mission for the next 18-hole round to get to a full and balanced finish on every single swing, that you will have the best ball striking day that you've enjoyed in recent memory. There's no way around it. If you haven't been doing it, that can only be a plus. All right? And if I can do anything for you, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know how things are going. I'll look forward to seeing you next week.